Welcome. It is a little bit past noon. I know I'm a little bit late. Some of you are mad at me, but that's okay. I have stuff to do too. This isn't just you selfish people. So yes, I was a little bit late. It's true. Do not blame my crew. It's not their fault. They were here diligently on time as they always are. I was late when I apologize, but I'm here. And we are talking about something that I think is amazing today. The Sharpe Crew has some very cool things. But we're talking about, believe it or not, aliens. You didn't think Larry would go aliens. You didn't. You thought he would never go aliens. Well, you were wrong. Larry has gone aliens. And I brought with me my awesome crew that I always try to bring with me on Thursdays. Of course, the smartest woman in Michigan. I've just decided that. I don't know if it's true, but I have decided that she is. It is the one and only PhD herself, Charla Burnett. How are you?
I'm doing well, Larry. How's it going with you? Shame on you for being late.
Yes, it is my fault, but I did give you a good title of smartest woman in Michigan. So that was good. So
yeah, but usually it's me late, so I have to give you a hard time.
There we go. I love it. And of course, a returning champion, the man himself, the dragon of the Southern Tier, Michael Vass. How are you, sir?
Hey, how are you? God, it's going to be a fun one today. I love this topic. This is going to be
absolutely
exciting.
And if you guys want to follow them, please do so. You can follow Charla on Instagram, of course, at Venture Novelist, and you can follow Mike on Twitter at MV Consult. Look, the piece I want to bring up with here, more than anything, believe it or not, is the idea that are we worried more about the cover-up or are we worried more about the aliens themselves? In other words, the fact that the government is not being transparent. Now, whether you believe this is true, there's aliens or not, whatever is your personal belief, surely you got to be a bit pissed off that the government is not just saying, like the Mexicans, here's the alien baby, right? Or whatever is the thing, right? Here it is, look at it. Or here's the spaceship that came down and whatever, gave us computer technology or whatever is the story to tell us, right? Why is that the issue, or are we really worried about the aliens?
Well, I mean, let's think about it from the question is, do aliens exist? And
okay.
I think it's improbable to believe that we're the only beings in the universe in existence. That's really arrogant. It's so arrogant that it's I mean,
yeah, but even if, yeah, does that mean, to your point, right? Perhaps, right, that we aren't the only life in the universe, but does that mean whatever life is out there is intelligent, can get together and make spaceships, can, before it destroys itself because of stupidity, get to us in some way, shape, or form? That's a bigger stretch, isn't it?
No, it's again assuming arrogance that we're the only ones in the universe to ever be able to do that. Again, that's very arrogant.
Can't do it.
It's like climate change. We can change the weather. We can't predict. We don't even know what the weather's going to be tomorrow, and we're going to change it. And
my app's
pretty good. A universe that is larger than what we can imagine in terms of size, and older than anyone can truly understand, with everything that we don't even know out there, and we're the only ones.
Okay. So you want to walk down that road. You didn't care about my road. It's fine. Charla, help me out.
I'm getting to your road. I'm getting to it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with like Neil deGrasse Tyson on this, and the thought of like, until I see it, I really can't believe it. But I do agree with Mike that it would be improbable for us to believe that there isn't life on other planets,
right,
that exist. And we know that there are micro, organisms that are on different planets that we've been able to take samples from. So there is, we know, life on other planets. Now, whether or not that life is intelligent or whether or not it would be more intelligent than us, that's hard to say. And I particularly think, like, based off of our understanding of physics and our limitations of science, we know that there are specific bounds. And thinking that other kind of species, other alien life wouldn't hit those same boundaries would be pretty difficult. So perhaps somewhere in a distant galaxy far, far away, as we know the trope goes, there are maybe other beings, maybe not like us, maybe like us, but whether or not we'd ever actually be able to get to each other, I think that that's a completely different scenario with limitations and bounds.
All right. So what I'm hearing then is that everyone here is saying there's probably life out there. Mike thinks they could zip the spaceship over to us. Maybe it's possible, could happen. Charles like, nah, that's not going to happen. We're never going to know if there's like Darth Vader someplace in the galaxy far, far away. We're never going to be controlled by the Empire. I hope you're right, Charles. I do not want the Empire to control us. I agree with you. So, but let's go back though to the piece I was looking at though. What about the cover up? This is still
I'm getting to it.
Be my libertarian.
Larry, you're trying to run before we walk. We have to establish, where do we stand on, do we think there's life out there? Because what are they covering up, if anything? If there's no life, there's nothing to cover up. And I think
doesn't the cover up make you think it more, right? If I put up the curtain and I go, Mike, you can't look behind the curtain. Don't you go, wait a minute, what's behind the curtain? There's got to be something good behind the curtain. And there could be nothing behind the curtain. I just put up the curtain. But if I put the curtain up, don't you think now that there's something behind the curtain?
I think there's pros and cons and benefits to having the public think that there are potentially life on other planets.
So you conspiracy the conspiracy. I like that. Nice.
Yes. Yes, I do. I think in certain situations, it's much nicer to blame UFOs or something we don't understand on different things that are happening between countries and conflicts between governments. Okay. I also think it's good for the government to allow us to think that there could be life on other planets, because that means if we mess this one up, we could possibly just go to another planet. And we want people to have that hope, because hope is kind of what people use to get through their day to day, or having this realization that
Elon Musk is going to give us Mars. We're going to go to Mars.
Okay. And then we have these heroes that come along and that are just going to save us, and we'll buy all their products because they're, our savior.
So we can get to Mars. I'm with you.
We were doing so good on this show.
And who cares? We got another one. We got a spare. We just trashed this one. We got a spare planet. That's good. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, we were doing so good on this show. Everyone's so close to agreeing, and then we've gone off the deep end and wrong. Okay, so no, the government isn't trying to promote the idea that, I don't believe almost anyone in the world, maybe the fringe, maybe a very small fringe like the progressives, would think that, if we mess up this planet, we'll go to another planet, because that's the government saying that to us. I truly don't believe that's a message out there. Okay. I think the government is saying, to going back to the reference, the idea of, well, here's a curtain, or don't press the red button.
Right.
The whole idea of UFOs is it's a magnification of where you stand already on the issue. Okay. If you're looking at that, because the data no matter how you want to do the math, you can say, well, there's an infinite number of probabilities that say there's life out there, or you can say that because it's infinite, the answer is always going to be equivalent to zero. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. You're never going to get the right answer until the day that, ET does or definitively does not show up. Now, the government, I think, there are problems. I think there are definitely issues. I mean, from 1952 to 1969.
But hold on. I want to walk down. I want you to respond to what Charles is. Charles is kind of making them another conspiracy over the conspiracy, which I just absolutely adore. The idea that, yes, we're gonna jump on the conspiracy and then these guys think that. That's perfect. So let's just stay on that, and that can be a distraction from other things. So like, maybe we are making the super weapons or whatever the thing is that can destroy people or something. And then they're going to say, no, it's not super weapon. That could be the alien, right? That's what it is, or that kind of thing. And that because it's a cover up, that affects how we think. I want to cover that. I got the curtain, Mike. Are you scared? Do you want me to move the curtain or not?
Well, no, the government's always making super weapons, and there are always people who find out about it, and there's always cover stories on top of that, and people will misunderstand something that they see, and you'll see that. I mean, that's why when we look at from 1952 to 1969, Project Blue Book was actually the U.S. Air Force telling the public about 12,600 different UFO sightings or reported sightings, and actually going through it and making it public for everyone. And while that's a lot of sightings and a lot of questions there, only 701 of those sightings remain to this day unexplained, unknown, unclassified. They don't know what to say.
Still a lot. 700, still a lot.
Now the Pentagon reported last year that they receive around 800 a year of UFO sightings from the public reports. So we know that a lot of people are seeing flying objects and they're unexplainable to them, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily unexplainable to our military. Or, for instance, like the balls that were flying over Michigan, the Chinese air balloons. Like these types of things happen all the time. But what if it's something that they don't want you to know about, and it's just easier to be like, well, we don't know, than it is to actually identify what it is, because maybe they were illegally operating certain types of military vehicles or even commercial vehicles that they don't want you to know about.
Illegally
this
operating
always
them?
gets me, right? I am, and don't get me wrong. Look, I wear my libertarianism on my sleeve, of course. And if I think the government's doing something, like, yes, government's doing it. Yes. They're somehow screwing us, guaranteed, right? And I always believe government is completely in collusion with big business. Like, I always assume they're in bed, and every time that's my assumption. You have to prove to me that's not happening, right? My assumption is big business and government is in bed together every single time. So yeah, if there's some, again, I have no idea if it's true, but if there is some big company making super weapons or magic flying vehicles, if that is true, there's no doubt I think the government would be totally behind it, helping them, covering up, making up stories, whatever. Come on, Mike. I know you like sometimes
would
to
they
get
want to
bad lists,
cover
but
up
that has to be true.
alien life?
Sorry,
Well, there's a couple of really easy answers to that. And first of all, Larry, obviously the government's going to use the opportunity because on the 18th, they actually, in the passing of the defense bill, they actually include a clause in there that the government will reveal all information about UFOs that they receive, but you'll be delayed by 25 years. And we know how that's worked out, because
is that all?
Yeah, and they said the same thing about JFK getting shot. So there, you know how long that's going to take.
Right.
But to answer the question, and I've heard this before, why wouldn't the government tell us about UFOs? Of course, they would discuss this with everybody. Not if you don't want anarchy, global anarchy. You're talking about a paradigm shift of everything fundamentally. Every religion would have to be reevaluated. Everyone's core values. We're talking about a bigger shift than, is the Earth the center of the universe, with Copernicus, and how many people died and were burned and ostracized because of that. And now you have instantaneous communication with everyone on the planet, already pissed off at each other, already looking for reasons to attack each other, already having religious beliefs that they are willing to kill for. And now you introduce this reality.
Many religions actually believe in extraterrestrial life that came to Earth at one point. So I don't think it's necessarily going to tear apart the religious fabric of our human society. And I would also claim that like dinosaurs are real, and that goes against the biblical Abrahamic religions, but they're fine continuing their day-to-day with that. Yeah, you're not allowed to teach it in religious schools.
No, that's not true.
Mike, of course it's true. They literally have Ark museums. Not one, multiple. There's more than one Ark museum that shows.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Got on the Ark with Noah. So
okay, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I am also telling you that there are Christians who absolutely believe in evolution, and there's nothing about evolution that would preclude the belief of religion, and many Christians
I don't think
have
so either,
that belief.
but I know that there are some out there. So
well,
I just
some
don't
of everything.
think that aliens necessarily make religion not.
And there are people that believe that Hamas are a bunch of good people, but that's a fringe. The majority of people actually have a solid understanding.
Every week's got to be Hamas.
We were going to get through one episode without a talk about Hamas
until they stop. Until they get us back our hostages.
Stop getting bombed.
I want our hostages back.
This is not Hamas week. This is Alien week.
I was going on. You guys stopped on that. I was going.
But here is what I think. I mean, religions in general are very elastic, right? People's belief systems are important to them, and they will move it to whatever, right? There will be Christians, and I mean, I think America is still mostly Christian, so there will be Christians in America who will be like, they'll deny it as aliens being bad or evil or the devil's work or something, and there'll be Christians who will say, great, more people to make Christian. And there will be Christians who go, oh, now Jesus was an alien, right? There'll be Christians of all different groups and flavors who will somehow merge this into their belief system. And Muslims too, but I don't know Muslims as well as I know Christians. I'm sure Jews too. I'm sure everyone will kind of find a way to merge into their belief system. There'll be some challenges here or there on how this works, but I think people will figure it out. People like their belief systems. It makes them feel good and happy. I think they'll find ways.
No,
Like, you think it's like the world's going to end? Come on.
No, you're
I don't
talking
think
about
the world would end. I think
fundamentally.
most people believe aliens probably exist now anyways, so it would
No,
just
actually,
be another day.
according to polls, both in 2021 and 2023 this year, either by Ipsos and by Gallup, roughly about 40% of Americans, depending on how you define it, generally believe there might be life in the universe. If you get more specific into the polling to say that there is intelligent life, now you're talking somewhere around 15%. Are consistently polling with that data, expanding that to the rest of the country, the world. You're talking about somewhere around 20% of the population tend to believe there's intelligent life. So no, you are talking about fundamentally changing the lives of everyone on the planet and everything they understood about themselves.
You can
There
believe
is
in
an existential
reincarnation, but
threat.
can't believe in aliens. Like,
Huh?
what's going on here?
What?
I said people can believe in reincarnation, but can't believe in aliens. I don't.
There aren't that many people who believe in reincarnation either. And we're talking, again, another fringe group. There are more people who believe in aliens than reincarnation.
There's like 1 billion people in India who believe in reincarnation. And I just picked one country.
Taoists.
Yeah, I only picked one country. It's like 1 billion. There's a lot of people who believe in reincarnation. Like a lot. Okay. Like a lot. Like at least 1 billion. Probably like 2 billion, I'm guessing. But at least
you're
1
talking
billion,
about
I feel like it would really depend.
Idea.
It would really depend on like what their intent was. If it's just like, oh, we found, life on another planet and they're definitely, out there building their own little civilization versus like an alien species arrives at our planets with weapons pointed at us, then yeah, I think that would be a complete change in our day-to-day lives.
It's funny.
I'm a little interested to know what you personally think of, because there are like all these kind of theories out there that aliens have already been to Earth. And that they actually interacted with humans.
Here is my theory, and my daughter actually asked me this a while ago, and I told her this, and she did not like my answer. My answer is actually not a very positive one. What I mean by that is, right now we are nowhere near being able to get to any civilization. Nowhere near. The closest civilization that might be is about 4 billion light years away, and that's a maybe. We don't know. That's the closest. I'm sorry, 4 light years away. So if we could travel at the speed of light, which we're not even close to, it would take 4 years just to get there and then to get back. Oh my God, right? And we can't even travel that fast. So if someone could, or some people could travel that fast, the amount of technology they would have past us would be by magnitudes of thousands. It would, if they came to our planet, it would literally be like us finding an anthill. We would look at an anthill and say, does the anthill matter to me? No, I'm walking by it. If there's something under the anthill that I want, I will just destroy the anthill and I'll just take what I want under the anthill. Or I'll walk away from the anthill. It doesn't mean anything to me. The anthill is irrelevant to me because it's just another anthill. So if these people exist, they will come to us. And if they want something, they will just take it. They won't care if it hurts us, helps us. They won't care at all. I don't care if the anthill thrives and survives or if it dies. It doesn't matter to me. It's an anthill. And they will think exactly the same way. They probably wouldn't communicate with us. I don't talk to the ants. I don't care. If they get in my way, I kill them. If they don't get in my way, I leave them alone. And I think any aliens who would come to us would treat us just like the anthill. They would ignore us completely or take what they wanted if we had something of value. Who knows if we have anything of value? My assumption is our planet has something of value. They probably would just do what we would do with insects. Grab a couple of us, check us out. Go, oh, that's what these people are. This is how they work. Ooh, this kills them. Oh, this doesn't. Oh, okay. and there would never be a war with us. If there was a war with us, they would just exterminate us, like we would exterminate ants. It wouldn't be a war. It would be a slaughter. They would just exterminate us. And that sounds horrible, I know, but I can't imagine anything else.
No, I agree.
Well,
There's
no,
no
it's-
other way.
It's realistic. I mean, as the saying is, there is no difference between any sufficiently advanced science and magic. You wouldn't know. It's the same thing.
Was
like
that
us going
Asimov who
back-
said that?
Huh?
Was that Asimov?
I thought it was Asimov who said it.
Yeah, it was Asimov.
There's
yeah.
no difference between the two. And I truly believe that. And I think that's part of the mystique. See, there's a combination of things of there is a problem with people reacting badly if they knew, and and an element of there's something that doesn't make sense. And I don't think it's necessarily that we're looking at the aliens, but perhaps a probe, like we send out Voyager.
Sure.
A more advanced society sending out their version of a Voyager saying, hey, there's a bunch of animals running around. And really, they would be looking at us the way that we look at animals running across the savannah in Africa.
Right.
Look at those animals over there. Let's go and take some pictures of that. Let's go and observe them for a while, see how nature is. And they don't care.
So
But I
now
think
we're all
there's-
embarrassing ourselves, Mike. If they're looking at us, it's pretty embarrassing. Like we're embarrassing ourselves right now.
Maybe,
These
or
humans
maybe
keep
it's the
fighting
normal,
each other. Look at them. Yes.
maybe it's the normal process. We don't know enough to know what to ask the question or to actually judge the scale.
Do you remember they did South Park on this? They did.
Oh.
There was a South Park episode. If any of you who are watching remember this, there's a South Park episode where the Earth was just basically a TV show. That's what it was for like aliens,
Sure.
in another galaxy, and they would like basically watch it. They would go, "It's Earth. Watch the Chinese fight the Indians. It's fun." Like it was just a show. It was a reality TV show, right? That's what it was in South Park. And I think your point's a valid one, Michael. If they came to us, we might just be like a convenient zoo for them.
Yes. I think very much it would be something like that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that, okay, your cameras can break, your drones can fall out the sky for whatever reason. And we could see that happening, which may be the reason why in July of 2023, we found out from Matt Gaetz and Representative Burchett in a congressional hearing, speaking with David Grush, that there is apparently a level above top secret, a level of intelligence, not to say that I know there's levels above that, but levels that our Congress cannot access when it comes to accessing information about UFOs, and in particular, not just the 701 undefined cases back in 1969, but the God knows how many cases from 2007 to 2007 to 2012, where we spent $22 million on going back in. It's a new program. It's called the AAITP, is the new Project Blue Book.
Ah, okay.
And it was a secret program. They spent over $22 million between 2007 and 2012 to do the same thing Project Blue Book did, which is investigate UFOs, and members of Congress can't even access this. So there is something else there. It's not North Korea with the new bomb.
Now you're basically allowing
us Congress.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're making Charla's conspiracy of conspiracies even truer. So now it's like, so basically the deep state, I love that phrase, deep state, even though I know it's conspiracy, I still love it. The deep state is literally like real, like they really run things, and the Congress is just chumps. And
it's very Men in Black-esque.
In my way. Yes. Right. So like that's what it really. So maybe it's real. Maybe. What about let me grab some comments, because I've got some comments here. I do want to grab a couple of comments if I could.
You should have a lot of them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So hold on, let me see if I can grab these. The idea that maybe like aliens already here. I mean, that's some good ideas too. So anyway, user ban for using naughty words says, I blame Larry for being late. Agreed. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It is true. Then he jumps on and goes, I knew it. Yeah, it's my fault. Right. But Andrew, you're on my side. He blames the entire crew. Well done. Thank you. I do like that. 100%. Yes. All righty. Let's see if I go to here. And now, of course, Joe says cancel the Sharpe Crew. Yeah, we got canceled, guys. We got canceled. That's
I'm always
Be
getting
the first
canceled.
time, won't be the last.
Yes, he goes on to say, if aliens are aggressors, we'd all know. So if they exist and have visited, I'm not afraid of them. Also, if they exist and have existed, government covering up today is bad government. I think it's a valid point, right? If the aliens were trying to get us, they would have already gotten us or made the attack or beaten us up or whatever. If their plan was for some reason to wipe us out, again, I don't know why they would, but if they were just planning to wipe us out, they probably would have, unless, and Joe, I'll go back to Mike's point, unless what came is just like the Voyager probe thing, and
But
they
there's
haven't
so many
decided
people
to
who
do the
claim they've been
invasion yet.
abducted by aliens. So what about those people?
Probes could be. I'm not saying, again, my point is, I'm not saying aliens don't exist. I actually believe that it would be absurd not to believe that there probably are aliens in the vast universe that exist with intelligence. Anything else to me would be absurd mathematically and
But I have to go down a road that I think is crazy. Sci-fi. You brought up Asimov, Mike, and I think you're right with this. Sci-fi. I'm going to bring him an old Doctor Who episode from the 70s.
Yeah.
No Doctor Who from the 70s. The Daleks, who are the bad guys. For those who don't know Doctor Who, Daleks are the ultimate bad
tens
guys.
of millions
Doctor
know
Who.
the Daleks. The Daleks are.
There we go. Yes. Yeah, the bad guys.
Exterminate. Anyway, go on.
Yes, exactly. Exterminate guys. Yes. So they literally want to exterminate. So they're on this planet and they're trying to figure out how to fight this planet. What do? They grab a couple people from the planet so they can genetically engineer a disease to kill all of those beings. You just go, oh, let's grab a couple, do the experiments. Now we'll just drop the biological weapon and kill all of them, right? And that was 70s BBC TV.
Yeah.
If you're an alien, to your point, Mike, you would use probes, grab some people, do your experiments to make the equivalent of bug spray for humans. Is what you would do.
Or throw a rock.
Right?
Starship Troopers, throw a rock.
Yes, but the
Really
worry about
effective.
throwing the rock is you might destroy things you want. You're assuming that you would want to destroy, kill people without destroying something you might want.
Which is what the probe is for. Yeah. Because
Yes.
they could. The technology, as much as people think, oh, sci-fi, lasers, Star Wars. No, realistically, it's very easy to kill an entire planet. Throw a rock. That's all it takes.
It's true.
That's all it takes. At least at our level. Maybe, aliens can stop that. But if there's a big rock coming to the Earth, we're dead. There's nothing we can do to stop it.
It's true. We don't need lasers. We don't need Death Stars. We need rock throw. We need really big slingshots.
That's it. Just one. Just
really
one.
big slingshot. That's good. So, Charla, is this a probe?
I don't know. I mean, most of the historians who do work on this, like the Chariots of the Gods authors and things, they would claim that ancient aliens have already been here. And that's why we have different architectural phenomenon across the planet that are so similar to one another, even though the different civilizations had never come in contact or actually missed each other by hundreds of years. And why stone is cut so precisely that it could have only been done by diamonds, these types of kind of analysis. And I'd love to learn more about what you think of that, if you've heard about that before.
Yes, and the other thing I remember is if you, again, going back to sci-fi, Mike, you got me going on. This is your fault. So
we're talking UFOs. It's got to be sci-fi. Yeah.
So if you remember the Star Trek Next Generation series, right? They come to a point where they try to or maybe it was Deep Space Nine. It was one of those. It was Deep Space Nine or Next. I forgot which one. It was in that realm where they figure out that there is one origin humanoid species that actually
Next Generation.
Next Generation. Excellent. Yes.
That's why all the humanoids look the same. Yeah.
There we go. Yes. They had come up with the idea was that there was one basic humanoid species that kind of planted its DNA throughout the universe. And that's why everyone kind of looks similar, because we're based upon similar DNA. That also happened in that movie. Was it Prometheus? It was like that movie where supposedly aliens came down and put their DNA into the world and that's how humans happen, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, horrible movie.
It was a terrible movie, but the idea
Yes, that's the
is
idea.
a similar idea that there's one alien that came, or alien race, I should say, that came to Earth at one point and somehow made us. There was another movie that talked about how that was what the Martians did. I forgot the movie, but it was that Mars died, but before Mars died, the planet died, the Martians came to Earth and just dropped off their DNA before they died, and that made humans.
No,
Right? So I think there's a lot of
yeah.
people thinking that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with all of those. And again, if the government were to know this and they were to introduce this and say, hey, we're just a petri dish in a science experiment for a couple of lab rats somewhere, and they're just watching us to see what happens, you're going to look at society break down. You're going to look at religions break down. You're going to see people panic and freak out, and it's going to be bad. So there's a reason why you want to cap that. But again,
hold on, but Mike, I'm not sure I buy that. Let me tell you why. We are now literally isn't like that we're just like some fringe crazy people. Mainstream news is now talking about alien life being possible, visitors being possible. This wouldn't even get us canceled off YouTube. Like, this is just everyone's talking about it, and with them talking about it, people aren't freaking out. I don't see people jumping off buildings. I don't see people selling their homes. I don't see the Pope coming out and going, oh my God, Catholicism is wrong. I don't see any of these things. If anything, I see us just kind of going about our day. And
no, that's
you know
because
what? Maybe there's aliens.
I think people like to live in their bubble, and it doesn't really matter what's going on the outside of that bubble. They will try to maintain normality as much as possible, even if that means putting their head in the sand. They've proven that very well.
We haven't gotten to the proof stage yet, and so they could ignore this. It doesn't affect them yet. It's not as many people are actually. We're talking TV. It's a minute and a half of sound bites that no one's really listening to, except for political junkies like you and me. The average person has no idea what they just heard in the news because it's.
Oh no, they're watching Ancient Aliens on National Geographic or whatever channel that's on, Discovery Channel, and they're thinking that that's 100% accurate. Like, we got people out here thinking they're mermaids, so I don't think
true. Yes.
they're not concerned unless it actually is going to impact their day-to-day life and disrupt it.
So let me ask the audience if I could. Guys, if you like this show and you like this conversation, please click the like button. I know I bug you every single time because it matters. Please do it. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, please retweet this right now. If you want to super chat me, you can through Larry Sharpe Super Chat if you want to. But something else you can do. You can support these two wonderful people who are giving you an hour of their time. You can support Mike by going over Twitter, MV Consult, or Charla over at Instagram at Venture Novelist. But I'm going to ask one more thing for you.
Also the same on Facebook.
Oh, and the same on Facebook. Thank you. Venture Novelist also on Facebook. And I'll ask one more thing if you would. Once this is over, do me a favor. Come back after it's over and put a comment down. It does matter. YouTube likes that. They like comments after it's over. So if you happen to be on YouTube messing around, come back to the show and put a comment. Just say how much you think I'm always right. That would be fine. Or anything else. But I like that one as the best one. But any comment will be fine. That would be good. Any of those would be good. Let me grab some more comments. By the way, Missy says, I like living in my own bubble at a time. So yes, I would absolutely agree. So G. Will says, yes, she's right on about people living in denial in their bubbles. I do think that's right. That's a thing. Yes.
Cognitive
absolutely.
dissonance is a psychological phenomenon among all humans. So it's there.
There we go.
It hurts to come to terms with the truth if you can't hold two opposing values or beliefs in your head at the same time.
There we go. Dave says, Larry, okay, that means that our whole solar system could be like one tiny atom on the fingernail of some other giant being.
Men in Black and the Marbles.
This is too much. That means one tiny atom in my fingernail could be.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
That
but
is
one of the, be just as probable as any religious god.
Well, no, no, not even close. But there is scientific theory that it's
just
membrane.
Made Mike mad, Charla.
That's like membrane. What you're seeing in the Men in Black, the multiple dimensions theory, is more like the membrane, or they call them brains, membrane theory in science about how dimensions are created, universes are created, and these membranes touch, and that's your Big Bang moment, and it's just bigger and bigger. And we even without going that far, we are a grain of the sand in the universe. I mean, look at us in the size of our own galaxy. We're grain. We are literally grain.
Joe asks, Adam and Eve were before dinosaurs. There are Christians who believe that. Yes, depends upon, there are sects, in particularly America. I assume around the world. I just don't know much about that around the world, but I do know in America, there are actually, yes, there are sects of Christianity who will say, yes, Adam and Eve were before the dinosaurs, and they lived with dinosaurs. Like they were around in the world during that time. Roy says, how big would an ark have to be to get two dinosaurs on there? You can go to Kentucky and find out.
Yeah.
Like,
ask him
they
about
have
it.
literally. Yes, they have replicas. Roy, if you're that, you can go. It's one's in Kentucky and one is I forgot where. There's two in America. There may be in other countries too, but I know there's two in America. You can go and find out. Absolutely. This is not like these people are serious. Like they built the ark. You can go and see it. So yes, absolutely. So and Missy's mad at you, Mike. She says, "Can we please leave Hamas out of it today?" She's mad at you.
Yeah, people get mad at me all the time, but you know, some things, there are priorities and things. Yes. And besides, I just referenced it.
The night shift says, make them stop covering it up. We already know aliens exist concretely. Well, I keep going back to this. I think night shift has the point. My biggest problem with this is the cover up, because the cover up really, it bothers me on many levels. Number one, to your point, Mike, if it's true and it would wreck the world, if it would, we still deserve to know, and we're going to have to reshift our worlds and figure stuff out and deal with our belief systems and find out how things work. And if you want to have to build a new ark that's got aliens in it, you're going to have to build a new ark then, is all I'm saying, right? Whatever is the thing you got to do, we got to handle this. If that's the truth, I think that humans, whether or not we can handle the truth, we need it and deserve it. That's where my head is. I think if it's true, we got it. And if it's BS, say it's BS. No, it's you know what the people say, we have energy weapons.
I would rather
it's really
now when it's not actually interrupting our day-to-day life than like if aliens just appeared and then we were all completely screwed. Okay. You know?
No. No. Part of the reason why
Mike, I think I'm right on this. Show me I'm wrong.
Part of the reason why governments exist is to protect people, protect them from things that they know and they don't know. And I'm not saying that any government is perfect at that. They're not. And I'm not saying they always get it right. They don't. And there is a hell of a lot of corruption involved in this, which is where we see, to an extent, part of what we're hearing from Charla and others, there is some corruption there. There are people who are siphoning this off to make money and to gain power, because name anything that involves politics or government that doesn't. But generally, the government's there to protect us.
Getting closer.
I get what you're saying. However, I do not. And I understand why people want this, by the way. I don't think you're alone in your thought process. I think a lot of people would agree with you. I don't at all agree with that. I don't want a government that is my parent. I want a government that is only doing one thing in my world, protecting my rights against other people trying to hurt me. Now, some people would say protection from versus protection to, or some combination. And I'm okay with that battle, right? I'm okay having a battle where government says protection from versus protection to, as long as it is other people doing things, right?
I would argue that governments were not created to help protect me. They were helped to protect corporate assets and private.
By definition, you're wrong. Go on.
No. I think that's common now.
They would easily let me die as long as it saved someone's mansion or corporate business. That's clear.
No. Hold on. I'm going to be clear. I think that's true now. But we're talking about governments began for safety. That was the beginnings of government. It was lots of people were doing bad things to people. Can we band together in some way?
When we need government, we could just have the mob.
Which is what the government was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the goal of the mob was, one of the reasons why people were okay with the mob in theory is They were protecting me from the other, right? That was the goal. We're all this. We're the Jewish
elites
mob. We're the
came
Italian
together
mob.
and said, let's make these formalized state governments because it'll make it easier to create buy-in to
What
bully
elites?
people into
They
protection.
fought each other.
There's always
they've been
elites. I
fighting
love
each
that.
other for literally centuries, millennia now. They've been fighting. Governments have been fighting each other. Governments weren't colluding. Governments were killing each other. They were basically family
barons
groups.
and kingdoms were colluding to form state governments. When princes and kings were beheaded,
You know, governments were around
people-
before there were monarchies, right?
feudal
Well,
governments.
Not really. I mean, really,
Not
every
really.
government's kind of
Not-
been a monarchy until recently. I mean, kind
There
of
were
has
governments before there were monarchies.
been. Okay.
Feudal systems of governments that were
But-
usually tied to who your genetics, blood relatives.
Yeah, it was some kind of either I have the biggest army or I have the right bloodline or some combination of that is what most governments have been for most of humanity. Either I have the biggest army or sometimes the most money, sometimes, but usually that equaled the biggest army, or I had the right bloodline, so the people believed that I was somehow chosen by God because I had the bloodline that they thought.
This is the reason why we even have human security to discuss, is because state security is completely separate from human security. The citizen's security is not the top level priority of a state structure.
Yes, but what I'm saying, Charla, is you're talking about today versus beginning. And if you go back to the beginning, literally there was either the common law or sometimes even somehow written out that the monarch was responsible for the lives of his citizens or her citizens, right? That was a thing. Governments were made initially to protect my tribe, right? My group of people. That's what they weren't made. The governments weren't made for me to go, oh, I'm a corporation and you got to give me money. Now,
Tribes
did they evolve?
And government systems, though, are classified as two separate types of entities. Like, people would have tribes leadership who then would band together to protect, but are a form of like government where there's taxation, where you're putting up this type of money. That's completely separate from tribal systems. They're
Tribal
classified
systems-
in social science as something completely different.
But even if
And
you
for the
were to
longest
say-
time, we used to tell people if they were in tribal system that they were less than what our current
even if you are in a tribal system, and I'll even go to a tribal system of somehow elected or selected elders is your leadership, right? And however that tribe decides, the elders, and usually it's elders or sometimes warriors, but generally speaking, it's going to be elders in some format.
Mm-hmm.
The elders are our leaders, whatever that is, and whether they select them through bloodline or through voting or through this guy's the toughest guy, so we decide to make him that. Whatever is the thing, right? That's still a government, and those people still have
really, because
responsibility.
our government doesn't think so. In fact, violate tribal law all the time.
Yes, that's modern governments. Correct. I mean, yes.
That's not modern. It's been that way
government.
for hundreds of years.
Yes, but government's been around for millennia. Fine, you win. Let's go back to aliens.
There's a rabbit hole, and there's so much to say about what
Yeah,
Charla's
I
saying.
guess that's our next
I'm not
show
even
is
gonna go there.
governments. We have our next show.
Yeah,
so there we go.
Fundamentally.
But I don't feel like you
descriptive.
guys answered my original question
Go ahead.
about
Which is?
ancient aliens
What's
and whether or not you think it's probable that aliens have already been here and visited
I
humans
do.
and influenced our current history.
I do not think. Look, if I found that, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't have strong feeling on this. The other part I said I have a strong feeling on, if there are aliens who came here to destroy us, they would just destroy us. However, if I'm wrong and they didn't come and they somehow, there was a theory I remember that humans are a genetic breed of primates. That
From the
aliens came
Neanderthals.
and did some
Split.
genetic, exactly, and did some genetic engineering with the primates and made humans, right? That was a story that I have no idea if that's true. I'm just saying that is a theory.
There's a TV show dedicated called Ancient Aliens, and it talks about all of this.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yes, there we go. So I
know.
knew that was a thing.
That's the History Channel show.
If that's true, right? If that is true, or if that is true, why wouldn't this group of humans evolve in a similar way? So I don't think you'd have to have aliens touching all of the groups they would just evolve that way naturally. Why wouldn't humans evolve the same way naturally? I mean, you find as a general rule, humans do similar things, right? Wherever they are, right? They tend to come up with tribes. They tend to come up with some type of first physical weapon, then shield weapon, then missile. I mean, then shield defense, then missile weapon. They tend to do that. That's what they tend to do. They tend to hunt. I think wherever you go throughout the world, they also figure out, eventually figure out farming, right? Eventually figure out
just to play devil's advocate, because this is kind of where most of the arguments come in. I don't believe any of this trash, but this is what I've heard other people come forward. Well, how did they have electricity in the pyramids? How did they have all this technology and ways of architecture that we no longer have? And what happened and why did it go away?
Okay, so let's think about this for a second. One of the things that tends to happen with human beings, it's really interesting that whenever we make advances in technology and in science, there's usually a spark moment, and we recognize usually one, maybe two people that are involved in that. But we also tend to find that almost simultaneously across different communities, different parts of our globe, people have that same spark, that same moment. We basically evolve to the next level as a species, and everyone starts to understand and know, hey, yeah, now we all know how to do X, or we understand the concept of Y. We all get it now, and we're all there on it. And this has happened repeatedly with pretty much every advance in terms of science and each piece of technology that we've had. We have seen this universalized, and why it's become very common to this point, and people aren't surprised by it anymore. So does that mean aliens did that? Not necessarily.
Well,
I find it interesting that the pyramids are well engineered, but that's not beyond human effort. It just takes effort. And in a generation,
but there's a second piece here that we have now that we didn't have before, which is mass communication. And I would say mass communication, even as in the printing press, right? I would even go that far, right? As a printing press. If you made some amazing discovery in Mesopotamia in 2000 BC, if you aren't able to somehow get that to somebody else, that goes away once you die and once that nation goes under, right? When the next nation comes by and burns everything or blows you up or whatever they do, knock down your monuments or whatever they do when they come over, when the next king or queen comes over and decides that, your stuff's kind of gone unless they're thinking about it. Like the Mongols were savvy. They actually tried to grab culture and things from people. If I remember the story right, I think it was because Genghis Khan was like captured in great cities as a slave when he was a kid or something, and he saw all these amazing things. So when he took over the Mongol Empire and he would trash people, he would take their culture. But lots of people didn't do that. Say it again.
I think you're thinking of Vlad the Impaler, who we think of as Dracula. Vlad Tepes. He was taken by the Ottomans.
And maybe the wrong guy. Maybe.
Yeah. So you're talking
some
about
story.
Story.
Yes. The point being, he took culture. Most armies came in and just burned stuff and took stuff. So if you didn't figure it out, it would go away. So I'm not sure that's that crazy to think that someone could have had batteries or could have had a basic computer type thing, right, made out of wood and whatever, right, stone, and then it go away because when the swordman came in, he just trashed everything and said, "Where's the gold? This thing is dumb. Break it." I mean, I don't know. Charla, am I wrong on this?
I mean, no. I mean, that would be my argument. People don't really realize that Egypt was quite isolated, and it really only had a population of between 40 and 50,000 at its very height. It was pretty large, but like when you think in the grand scheme of things, it's not that large. It's not going to leave a huge mark behind, particularly if there was some sort of natural disaster or disease that hit that area, and then no other life found it for another 1,000 years, and it was covered in sand. Well, then, yeah, of course. But I think
a massive army for Egypt, a massive army was 4,000 soldiers.
Yeah.
That's a massive. That's like that would have been one of the largest armies in the Middle East at that time. 4,000 soldiers. That's not even a division. in modern. That's that's not even a
Yeah, but
division.
in ancient times, we got to scale everything. Remember, we have to scale everything down. If we're going back that far, because Egypt was big for its time, and everyone else was really that much smaller. We're talking about villages of people of 20 people. That was probably more common than anything else. 40,000 people in one place, an army of 4,000. You're talking about several villages and towns couldn't put that many people together. So, but again, let's go back to the aliens.
James says aliens run the government. That's the cover up. See, I'm with James. I am. I'm with James. Imagine? That's the lizard people we hear about, right? That's it's the lizard people, right?
And they somehow get something from us by us extracting our petrol products.
maybe that's how they live or whatever. That's like their fuel or maybe. But I want to go back to Doctor Who again. I mean, I'm obviously a Doctor Who geek, but Doctor Who, there was another one, which was there's a group of people who live in Earth, but they're not humans.
The lizard people that live in Earth.
That's correct. Literally, the lizard people is from Doctor Who, and they were like,
people believe this. There are literally a group of people that believe
Hollow
this
Earth
with all of their being.
It's called the Hollow Earth theory.
Yes, correct. The Hollow Earth, that there's a beings underground, and they come up when once in a while do it. And here's why I say this, because if you remember the guy who's talking about the aliens, he actually didn't say aliens. He didn't say extraterrestrial. He said non-human.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he said. He said non-human origin.
What's the name of the organization that Obama and the Clintons were a part of that meet in California and get naked in robes and stand outside of an owl to worship these lizards, demon people?
Yep.
It's all connected.
There we go. So yet again, Doctor Who was right. Literally, Doctor Who, we thought it was sci-fi documentary. That's what it is. Documentary. That's what it is.
I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch connecting the secluded islands and practices on those islands of certain elite individuals, kind of like Epstein's Island. But yeah, Bill Clinton's been tied to some of these groups too that do really weird things. Not necessarily because of lizard people, but also
Illuminati.
Well, people call it Illuminati. They call it the Skull and Bones. They call it Epstein's Island. There's a lot of names for these kind of things.
Epstein's the worst one. I'd rather have the Illuminati.
Yeah.
There's a lot of corruption out there.
When they release his book, we need to have another podcast
100%.
About the release of his.
I'd rather have lizard people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was thinking about what you were saying with David Grosh, because I was actually listening to that his congressional hearing, and this is important. He actually has a clearance. He actually has a knowledge base. He was in a congressional hearing. He was under oath when he was saying that all of these devices people have been speaking about are non-human. Here's the thing that I don't think everyone thought of. What if he meant machine made? What if AI is a little bit more advanced than we think? What if AI is making developments in terms of defense and weapons that we no longer necessarily always have control over? What if it was an AI-made device?
Skynet is real. Michael, you won me over. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
you 50 minutes, but you won me over. Yeah, it did. Damn it, Michael, you won me over. That's a good one. I like that one.
And so the government keeps the aliens conspiracy around because it keeps people from realizing that they're AI robots.
Yes.
There's AI. We went a little too far. The AI have been developing weapons, and maybe they're starting to do things that are a little more scary than we thought they were, because they thought it was a labor-saving device, thought they had the program right, and no, not quite.
There we go. I like that. User has been banned, says, if Skynet is real, we are so screwed. I saw that movie. I saw that movie too. I watched it too. Yes.
What is that? The Wild West robot.
Westworld.
Westworld. So like a Westworld type thing where they all escape and then they integrate into society and they're actually the ones that are pulling the strings.
More like if Electric Sheep
or like
do Electric Sleep Dream. by Philip
Replicas
K.
of real
Dick.
people. Oh, that
The,
we're like
the
we're,
original, the book. Not
like
only
we're
just
all
right
hooked
now,
up
but
to a
the
machine,
book.
and this is just a dream.
Well, it's not a dream. It's
They're
more.
harvesting us.
It's the Matrix. It's real. We need Neo.
We need Neo.
Could be.
We need Neo. We do. Can I be Morpheus? I want to be Morpheus.
You would make a great Morpheus, Larry.
You know what's a scary
Morpheus.
thought?
Yes.
That we're the program, video game Matrix VR program running for some alien, and they're playing. This is their video game.
There's some
This is their
physicists
super advanced video
who
game.
really believe that is probable, that we're hooked up to some sort of system, some computerized system, because every once in a while they'll find glitches.
All right. So Charla, when I find Neo, if he's hot enough, will you be Trinity?
Yes, but only if he's hot enough.
Okay, guys, somebody gotta be hot. So yeah, I'll find hot Neo, and I'll hook you up. You'll be my Trinity. Okay, good. We'll be good.
Sounds great. I want to learn
You got the
martial
whole movie
arts
set.
just by like upload.
Yeah.
No.
You can like take down
Can I also put
helicopters
some
and
like
stuff.
cookbooks in there and learn how to cook as well? Like just upload
All the
that.
things. You can learn any of the things. It won't matter. It'd be great. We'll hook it right up. Hook it right up. I
Do you
love
think
that.
that's
Yes.
in our future? Because Elon Musk thinks it's in our future.
He does.
No.
Oh, Joe says he'll be Neo, so we found Neo, so we're good. We got Neo. We're good.
Perfect.
All right, we're good. That's all good. Yes. AH says humanity is a simulation. What I liked about the Matrix, your first movie, which I thought was interesting, is they explained deja vu as a glitch in the machine. I thought that was an amazing little thing they did. I love that. Like, oh, deja vu. Wait a minute. The Matrix is glitching.
Because have you guys had deja vu before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have multiple times. I've definitely felt like I've had dreams that something was similar in my dream that would happen in real life after the fact. And I'd be like, I've had a dream about this before. Why? And those types of little things are always what keeps me, even as a scientist, thinking like maybe there is something else to all of this than what we're just clearly seeing and teaching one another. That keeps me kind of open to the possibility of other things like aliens or gods or anything like that.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people go on there. You see, there's actually, we talked about this before, there's actually an increase in paganism across America because people are being more open to this idea of some other type of beings, and
that we're connected to the earth,
more open to
itself. Yeah. That our health is actually an investment into the earth, and we feed one another, and we kind of need to.
There is a bigger growth. It's growing. I think I told you I did a show. It was a book. There's a recent book called Pagan Libertarianism or something like that. Paganistic Libertarianism. That's a book on it.
Did you see the experiment where they had like people say negative things to plants versus positive things every day, and how the things you said negatively to plants like led them to die?
There was literally a study that showed that, and this was to get vegetarians, which I thought it was great because getting vegetarians is always funny. So it was to get vegetarians, and it basically showed that if you cut down a plant, that there is a reaction in the plant. Like the plant knows it's being chopped. And as happens when you eat a plant, it's still alive.
In frequencies
that can scream
that we don't hear, but computers can now pick up on. So you can literally hear these plants.
So all you vegetarians, you're murderers.
Hey, I'm perfectly happy for all those people.
You're horrible. I'm teasing.
I'm perfectly happy for all those people who are so overwhelmed by the death of all the plants. And I don't even eat vegetables. They can starve to death. I don't care.
What are the name of the people who only eat plants after they've fallen off the vine? There are people who believe this. They don't believe in killing plants. They can only eat things that have fallen off the vine naturally.
Wow.
Can't remember what they're called.
I like that. I like that.
That is so damn stupid.
But it's a serious thing people they're into.
My God, that's so stupid. People have too much of a comfortable life.
I want to see the longitudinal
You got Michael to
studies.
do a belly laugh. Nicely done.
I know. I haven't got to see him do that yet. I really enjoyed that.
That was good.
But I want to see the longitudinal studies on vegetarianism because I still have a theory that our brain mass only developed because of our ability
Protein.
to create fire and to cook meat and have that certain meat protein. And
Yep.
so I wouldn't be surprised if over generations of vegetarianism or veganism that you start to see bones become brittle, mass in your brain
over
decrease.
generations. It happens in the generation, that same lifetime. They're but they become looking more and more like the gray, bug-eyed aliens that we see in all the sci-fi movies.
There we go.
Maybe
Joe
they
says
just are
plants
aliens.
communicate with each other.
They do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And AH says increase in paganism is due to corruption and weak leadership in major established religions, in my opinion. I could
Maybe.
see that.
Yeah.
Yes, I could see that.
Maybe it's
I
a
think
contributing
that
factor. Who
Yeah,
wants to
I could
like
definitely see
follow
that.
Catholicism when like a quarter of their priests are child molesters? Like,
Yeah, you can go instead. You
Is
can
it
get in
that
and
high?
mom, follow Muslims,
it's
and go
really
and kill
bad.
some babies. Yeah, you could do that instead. Let's not go down that route. Don't pick on the religion right now.
But hold on now. If we want to go, I'm not touching it. I'm not. That's a bad one. I'm not gonna because okay, we got like
circle back.
We got like 2 more shows that we got already set. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, do me a favor, click the like button. It does matter. I tell you all the time, click it. Please click the like button. If you're watching on Twitter, please retweet this. And no matter what, please, I want you to follow these 2 people. Please follow Charla on both Instagram and Facebook at Venture Novelist. And please follow Mike on Twitter at MV Consult. Now, I do want to grab a couple more comments, but before I do, please, Mike, tell us what you're doing this weekend.
Well, Friday I have a live stream roundtable talking about the Constitution. Some things have been happening in our country. Do it every week, and then Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a Sunday live stream myself, reaching out across the country to talk about all the things that have been going on for the last week, if not last month, if not throughout this year, wrapping up the year. And I do it every week.
Excellent. Charla, tell us what you're doing.
You guys are so professionally busy. I'm just taking the entire weekend off. I'm turning all of my electronics off. I am going to just hang out with friends who are visiting Michigan from wherever in the world that they finally come home from and just try to relax and unplug. It's been a very busy last couple of months, and the holidays stress me out. So I'm like ready for this to be done.
There we go. So I do want to, if I could bring up a point. Shelley asked the question. She says, if we have pyramids, what would they be used for today? What would they serve? Like, why do the pyramids matter? I guess is what you say. And that's agreement too, right? You make a pyramid back then. And my view is you want to get closer to the sky. That's my view. Higher is stronger and more powerful. That's my personal view. She's saying if you did it, then why?
Monument.
I think our
Technical.
versions of pyramids are like nukes. It's a fanfare
Pyramids
of
are
power.
nukes.
It is a fanfare of power. That
I see.
It was to show who had the bigger. I don't know how we can curse on your show, but it's really it's a bigger dick contest, right? So it's how big can we go ahead and build it to show off to other civilizations that they should be scared of us, that they should worship us, and so it's kind of like their version of the nuke. If they could have had that power, they probably would have.
No.
So you think that
chariots.
it was much more of a show?
Well,
oh yeah, for sure.
Chariots were their version of nukes at that
Militarily,
time.
chariots were amazing. True.
No, but pyramids. I think, but I do agree that pyramids were meant to show off it's like the 7 wonders of the ancient world. You know, the Hanging Gardens was another one of them. The Bronze Colossus is another one. This is a statement of saying we are so powerful, so eternal. This is what we can do that no one else can touch. No one else could do this. It is a statement of, and we see that kind of in, I don't know that we really have a modern equivalent, because I don't think we look at ourselves, our societies, as great as the ancients did. We're not really, we get new technology, we just take it in and we just live with it.
True.
It's
But
not
again,
about
that's
beauty
also
anymore. We don't have this kind
We
of
don't have awe.
understanding of awe, this awe that we want to create and design thing for the arts. I think the arts have been continuously pushed off and killed. And there's no
Agreed.
longer appreciation
100%.
for those types of things, which is
No,
sad
art-
because
art-
in an era where we have more and more automation and people are losing their jobs, like the arts are really going to be what save employment. But where we've instead of providing support to create entrepreneurship around the arts, we've literally found the quickest fix we possibly can, which puts all the other artists who slave over their work out of a job.
And I think there's something else, though. You see art heavily being used more and more as only an investment for only that, which I'm not against using art as investment. I'm not. I'm against it being the main reason for art, right? If you want to make art and use an investment, good for you. I'm not against that. But that seems to be a massive reason for creating more and more art. And it does, Bob. And again, Joe brings it up. He goes, art's a great way to hide wealth.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we need
100%.
the aliens to come back, raise back up Atlantis, push away the mermen.
Forgot about
Let
Atlantis.
Bigfoot, help them resurge back and reinvigorate us to be able to be awed once again, to build big pyramids saying, wow, you guys are great. I mean, is that what we're looking for Christmas?
User is on your side. He says it was a giant prick waving contest. User's on your side, Charla. I think you're right. He's agreeing with you. Well, guys, I want to say thank you all for today. I appreciate all the time you guys gave me. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back on again, probably talking about tribal governments or something. We'll figure out the thing. We'll be talking about something. Please make sure you follow these two people if you would. It is awesome if you would do so. Have a Merry Christmas for those of you who celebrate. For everyone else, hey, enjoy the holiday season, whatever you're going to be doing. I will see you all very soon.